Okay, this one struck a chord with me because I've been kind of thinking about this lately. Okay, this queen wrote in and she said, first of all, she's a huge fan of mine. Stop. Okay, anyways, she said she's wondering if I had any advice. Oh, I do. To get over an ex. He cheated on me and I decided to forgive him, but he still broke up with me a year later. As much as I want to hate him, he was also really good to me. It's been almost a year and I sometimes catch myself missing him, but I try to think of bad things to stop missing him. Any advice? Kinda. Not advice, opinions, like I said. But I have never been angry. Okay, no, that's a lie. I've been angry like once or twice, but like I have an ex who I really don't feel angry at, and it makes no sense to me. I hate talking about this shit online. Other than the initial period after, the breakup, where I was angry and I was feeling like everything, I have not maintained any anger, and it's very foreign to me because I have other exes who I can still get angry at now, like that are like years old, and I don't get angry at them, but it's like if I wanted to, I could, and I hate seeing pieces of them in the world. Like, okay, that sounded terrible, but sometimes when I see someone who resembles them, even if it's the way they move, the way they speak, the way they look, sometimes I get a feeling of like warm familiarity, honestly, because I'm so fucking far from home these days that like even my enemies look good to me out here. LA is a crazy place, but more or less I feel distaste towards that, and I find that I have a pretty good reserve of negative feelings towards a lot of my like past relationships, and I hate that. I'm trying to work on it. And then I have another ex who I can't feel angry at, and I do know why, I think, but I couldn't figure out why until recently, so let me tell you. And maybe this doesn't apply to you, but here's my thoughts. When you can't feel angry at someone, especially someone, okay, so you're saying he cheated on you. That's a huge thing. Cheating is such a repulsive thing to do to another person. You violate like every part of their being, especially when that person is sexual with you after the cheating, and then you find out, oh my God, like you violated my body and my soul. Like was my soul not enough? Like was my soul just actually not enough for you? You had to make my body feel like I have to scrub it too for months? Like how could you do that to me? For what too? Like coming? Like are you kidding? Was it great for 9 seconds, babe? What the fuck is wrong with you? How much validation could be worth it? How much sexual pleasure could be worth the fact that my skin feels dirty and my soul is dead? I've had situations where, to kind of different degrees of cheating, or is it not cheating, and like clearly someone did something wrong and it's like, oh, it kind of breaches this line of cheating, and it's like you can kind of define it for yourself per the context, because everyone's context is always different. But I think if you really think about what this person did to you, the fact that they cheated on you, and we'll talk about the fact that you forgave them in a second, but it's actually a very hard thing to come to terms with a lot of the time. And I think when something happens that is so painful and such a violation of only two things that you really have in the world, which is your soul and your body, your spirit and your body. And when I say body, I mean your physical body, your brain, your nervous system, your privacy, like your genitals, like everything. Like you just took all of my control away from me. I would never have agreed to be close to you or have sex with you again if I knew what you had done. How can you do that to me? Especially as someone I trusted. When you really think about how big of a violation it truly is when someone cheats on you, especially when they then don't tell you, that can be so, I think, difficult to like sit with, that I think a lot of the time people do forgive their partners for it and don't leave because you just don't feel ready or safe to go through that. And the human mind is a crazy thing, and I think it can just genuinely trick you into, if I stay with them and they prove that they're better and they're not as scary and horrible as I think that they are, and this person isn't who they just showed me they were, then I don't have to hold the truth of what just happened to me, and therefore I don't have to process that pain. So even if you go through something traumatic like that and then you leave, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you don't forgive them and you did walk away, it doesn't mean that you are going to feel safe with yourself to emotionally process that experience. Does that make sense? And so I think just because you don't feel angry and you don't feel all that hurt about what happened to you does not mean you're not. Does that make sense? Like, for me, what made me realize recently that this was the case was there were so many things that I would think about, like, why am I not angry about, why can't I feel hatred or animosity or resentment or anger or even just anything bad? I just feel nothing towards this person, and I don't know why, because I know I should be upset. I should feel something. Even if it's not anger, even if it's not hatred, I should feel something, and I don't. And I'm just like sat, like, I know these experiences happen to me and I know I'm gonna have to deal with them at some point, but like, I just don't feel a type of way about it right now. Until very recently, I had an experience that dug up so much for me. I'm gonna fucking spare you the details, but I went on a date and this person did something on that date that made me feel very weird. And at first I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, things got lost in translation. They probably didn't mean to do that. Like, I don't want to like talk to them about this and make them feel terrible about it when they probably didn't mean to. I'll just blame myself, or I'll blame a mutual lack of communication. I'll blame a mutual missed something. We missed something, and it's no one's fault. And I don't feel good about what happened, but I'm not going to place blame on anyone. This kind of doesn't make sense because I'm not actually going to tell you what happened. Don't want to. But the point of my story is, as time went on and I dwelled more on that experience, because I couldn't stop fucking thinking about it, and it was driving me crazy because I barely knew the guy, don't give a flying fuck about him, didn't at the time, don't now, but this experience was genuinely like walking around behind me all day. Like, I could fucking see it in the corner of my eye. He's right behind me, isn't he? Like, I could not get over it, and it was just driving me crazy. And so I actually asked ChatGPT, why is this making me so angry? Like, I'm angry. I'm angry at this guy and I don't even know him. And I have no real right to be angry because I've decided in my own head that it was no one's fault and that he probably just made a mistake. Like, he probably just didn't mean to do that, and he probably didn't mean to say that, and he probably didn't mean to be this person, and like, it's just awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't want to feel a type of way about this because it's heavy. So I'm just going to agree that it was no one's fault and move on. And so I told ChatGPT all of this. The conclusion Chat and I came to was, you feel angry at this random boy who did this fucking thing to you, that you're right, maybe it's not a big deal, whatever. But the reason you're angry at him is because it's safe to be angry at him, because this person is so irrelevant to you. You didn't need anything from him. You don't want to pursue anything with him. You don't really like him that much, and you have no history with him, and it's so safe for you to experience this anger because the stakes are low, and it is a comparatively small experience to the big one, to the big thing that you won't talk about, the big looming multiple traumas that are just like sat in your spleen, babe. And that was what Chat told me. It made sense. And so I was thinking about it for a long time, because I also didn't really want to accept that truth, because like, that's really annoying if that's true. I'd rather just think like I'm a really cool, laid back person who like doesn't care that much about like when things happen in her life, and like she can just like, you know, it's like, yeah, neither here nor there, you know, yeah, it was like low-key traumatizing, but like I'm low-key fine with it, like it's so chill. The more I dwelled on it, the more I realized, yeah, that actually doesn't align with me, and I am bothered. And even after having that conversation with Chat, where he was like, you're angry at him because it's safe to be, and it's a sign that you're healing, because this is the first time, mind you, he's fully caught up on my life. He was like, this is the first time that someone has prodded one of your little wounds that you refuse to acknowledge exist, and they've been a person who is low stakes enough for you to feel the emotional force of like, fuck you. You don't get to do that to me. That hurt me. Why would you do that? And I realized the reason that I'm apathetic is not because it didn't hurt, and it's not because I didn't care, and it's not because I'm not angry. It's because I don't know how to hold the weight of what actually happened. And I think it's possible that, especially since you're telling me he cheated on you and you did forgive him and you did stay with him, that you kind of don't know where to start. And I think maybe it's possible you want to validate that you didn't really do that to yourself, because it's very hard. And I've had these conversations with my girlies of like, I don't want to like blame myself for being with someone who was terrible. I'm not terrible. I didn't choose. I didn't want to be treated badly. I didn't choose to be abused. That's crazy. And it's like, no, you didn't. You didn't ask for that. You didn't. You didn't deserve it. You didn't ask for it. But, and that's not a but it's a continuation. You have to get to a certain point in your life if you're going to heal from things where you have to look back and acknowledge the fact. And it doesn't mean that you're crazy or bad, but you have to acknowledge that you let yourself stay even after you knew. And that can just be a painful realization. And I think when you're kind of faced with this truth, it's much easier to just close the door on it and actually slam the door on it. Instead, try and remember the good about the person.